back. Today we're going to do our monthly maintenance on our GFO and our carbon reactor here on the 125. Now it basically consists of turning off the manifold here, letting everything kind of settle down, taking out the canisters, and then I'm going to clean them thoroughly, and then what we'll do is we'll meet into the fish room, and I'll show you how I put everything together, and then that'll be it. It's pretty easy maintenance. Now, there's a couple options that you have on doing this. You can either put an amount, a smaller amount, and change it out every couple weeks, or you can put in a recommended amount and change it out every month or 6 weeks. Now, they say GFO lasts longer than carbon, but for the sake of maintenance and time, I just do them both at the same time. And so I kind of end up, exhausting the carbon before the GFO, and then end up wasting, some of the GFO. But it's okay. I'd rather just get it done and make sure it's fresh and ready to go. What you could do is use a less amount of GFO and change it out at the same time as the carbon, like just under the recommended amount. That way you're not really wasting it. But it's your call. I just do the recommended amount and change it out every 4 weeks. Other than that, that's it. So let's get them taken out and get them cleaned. So we gotta turn off the manifold first, which will turn off the biopellet reactor. Just wait a couple minutes for everything to kind of drain. Now I'm gonna attempt not to make a mess. I use this little thing here, just an RO tubing, to kind of make everything level off the back wall. Just because it's hanging there, it's not always that level. Attempt to do this with the biopellet reactor there. Do it just a little bit, and then come over here and finish it out. I will say, when I designed the system, I didn't have a biopellet reactor, so I didn't plan for it being in the way all the time. But it is. So, all right, let's get them out of here. Now, I dump the existing water back into the sump. That's just what I do. And attempt not to spill it. Not all of it, just the majority of it. That way you're not spilling it on the way to the sink. Alright, so I'm going to get to the sink. I'm going to clean these out. It's pretty standard. Just take the sponges out, rinse them out, squeeze them, and I use a baby bottle brush to clean the inside. And we'll meet back in the room and get going. Hey, welcome back. Now we're here in the fish room, and we are going to fill up our GFO and carbon containers, or reactor containers. So one quick note, since I've been using the biopellet reactor, I've noticed that I get the same white film, or kind of like a tannish film, in the GFO container, and only the GFO container, since it's the first in the line on the BRS reactor. And basically it's the same film. And over probably 2 months, it basically makes it so you can't see it tumbling correctly. So what I'll do is I'll make this one the GFO this time, which is originally the carbon. And then in 2 more months, I'll take them both out and let them sit in vinegar, and then that bacteria film will come off. It'll be no problem. It'll go back to looking clean. But like I said, I've only noticed that since I've been using the biopellet reactor. And remember, the output of the biopellet reactor goes directly into skimmer, so everything's getting skimmed off. So I don't know, it's something, but it doesn't seem to be affecting anything, so I guess we'll deal with it. So let's do our GFO first. Let's grab the original container. Now, you don't use any sponges with GFO. I just pour mine in to the bottom, and then we will rinse it. So the recommended amount is 1 cup. Okay, so we're just going to put in 1 cup for my tank. So we'll grab ½ cup here. Now, they say they want me to use ideally 2 cups of GFO, but I don't do that. I use, I guess, pretty much half. You want to say half the recommended amount. I just feel that when I was using 2 cups, there was 2 things that was a problem. It barely fit inside the reactor. I'm going to do a little bit more. And also, it didn't tumble very well. And on top of that, it just made phosphates plummet too quickly. So I'm just going to use the cup. It works fine. Like I said, I change it out every month, so it's no big deal. Make sure that's in there. Okay, that one's good to go. So we'll just put the top on. Our GFO set aside. It's good to go. So we'll just set it over here. Alright, carbon. Carbon, I use 2 sponges on the bottom and 1 on the top. I don't let it sit on the bottom. I don't like it that way. I kind of like it up here more because eventually the pressure of the reactor will push the carbon sponges up anyway, so you might as well have it up top already, or your carbon's just kind of gonna float. Just learn from experience. Use my trusty co-hanger here, or yeah, part of a co-hanger. One sponge. That's about it right there. We'll adjust it after. And I also use 1 cup of carbon as well. And it's the BRS Premium ROX 8. I love this stuff. I should have used this years ago. It barely makes any dust. It works great. Like tomorrow I'll wake up and the tank will be crystal clear. That which kind of makes me want to do it every 2 weeks for a lesser amount, but I just don't have the time for that. Okay, that's 1/2. Get talking and not paying attention. I know it looked kind of low. It's like, well, it's not very much. Now we wait. My bigger funnel, I can't find it. That's why I use the 1/2 cup instead of the big cup. Alright. Put our second sponge on. Push it down. Top of the reactor. Basically seats it stays up from the sponge, but once you put this in, the lid on, it seats down good. So, works out great. Now what we're going to do is I will rinse it in the sink real quick just to get the majority of the dust off, primarily in the GFO. And then I'll put them back into the reactor and we will use some of the tank water to finish the rinse. I usually have higher salinity anyways because of the 2-part, so it's definitely not going to hurt me to use some of the tank water to rinse this out. Alright guys, so I'll see you back at the tank. Alright, now we're back at the Reef tank. We have our containers ready to go. So let's get the GFO in first. I rinsed it out a little bit in the sink, so we're not going to get too much dust from it. Carbon. Alright, get our little tight in here. So it's easier to put it back in and take it out with this biopellet reactor. Put this back into place. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're going to turn it back on. I'm going to keep the flow off for right now. So let's get everything running. Everything kick on. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to turn it on slowly to fill it up, trying to get some of the air bubbles out. Let me see if I should zoom in a little bit. so I don't know if you can really see that, but we're just going to start off by adding a little water to it to not to disturb the GFO too much. The carbon I'm not really worried about, but I'm trying to avoid sending the GFO into the other container. So you see how it's filling up in here, so we'll wait. And now I usually get to the top, wait a second, let it settle. Continue. The whole purpose of this is to try to avoid sending GFO into the carbon container. But if it does, it's okay. We got 2 sponges to stop it. So you can see that the color is coming through. So we take a regular old shaker cup and we'll catch any of the water that comes out. It shouldn't be too bad. I usually do 2 of these, that's about it. Other than that, I don't really mess with it. It's pretty much clean. I turn it off for a second. Now you see the water coming out is not that bad. So we'll dump this real quick. Alright, so we'll turn it on slowly again. Continue. That's about it. The water's good to go. Alright, so now I'm going to try to get these air bubbles out. So I usually just turn it off all the way, let it settle. Give it a good burst. It kind of mixes up the GFO, but I'm not too worried about it going over now since it's pretty much saturated. Now with this reactor, I always found that it leaves a little bit of a bubble here for the first couple hours. After that, the water level will raise back up. It's just air bubbles. It happens. So set your GFO to tumble. I know you definitely can't see that, but I have it tumbling consistently. I'm not having it roaring, but it's definitely moving. And the reason why you want to do that is you want to make sure that the water, that it doesn't have a chance to sit still, so it hardens up. Okay, my little leveler back in here. Okay, and we'll just keep everything going. The air bubbles are starting to come out. And I'll come back here in a couple hours and I'll adjust it, just because it has, the air bubbles seem to do affect the flow. But other than that, that's it guys. That's carbon and GFO change out on the 125. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, like, comment, subscribe. If you have any questions, just ask, and I'll see you next time guys.